Alright everybody, it's me Roku here with a Cyberpunk video. What I'm going to do right here is talk about the best pistol build I've been able to come up with within 2.0. First off, you want to put a single point into Killer Instinct. This is amazing because with silenced pistols, it gives you just straight up free damage. And then we want to put our points into this tree right here. This is the main tree for pistols and revolvers. Focus is quite useful, but the main thing that we want out of this tree is Deadeye. Deadeye is amazing because in a lot of these combat sections, you're killing one goon and just unloading on everybody else, and Deadeye helps you do just that. Next, we gotta get nerves of tungsten steel for revolvers, and then run and gun for pistols. Because we want to go for a stealth setup as well, you want to put some spare points into this middle tree right here to give you more mobility when it comes to stealth. You want to unlock dash early on because it is an amazing mechanic in the game. Dash works with all builds, and just the ability to reposition really quickly is just incredibly overpowered and is definitely a recommendation for basically all builds in the game. So yeah, you want to max that out. Then we get into our technical ability tree. Now this one is really important to just max out by late game because without this middle branch, you really can't use Cyberware to its maximum potential. This isn't really specific to this pistol build, but it's more so just good for all builds because I can't think of a single late game build that doesn't have 20 technical ability and an edge runner. It's just that useful. Because we are using Sandevistan, you don't really want to put points into intelligence at all. We're not doing any hacking in this setup. Now, because we're going a stealth setup and we're putting a lot of points into Cyberware, will be a bit easy to kill, so that's where body comes in. In body, you want to put at least some spare points into these 5 down here, so you don't get one shot by a boss or something. For those of you who have the Phantom Liberty DLC, you gotta put points into vulnerabilities because it is amazingly useful, get this, and then put 2 more points into these 2 emergency cloaking for your stealth setup. You don't really need any of these 4 because we're using guns, not our hands. Now that we're done with our abilities, let's get into our Cyberware. The main thing they want is Sandevistan because it works the best with this kind of setup. Sandevistan is useful because it basically just lets you activate it and just clear out everybody in the way with just one-shot headshots, and because we're also going for stealth, you can activate Sandevistan and just run through areas without being detected. Now the best Sandevistan in the game is this Apogee one. You get this from Cyber Doctors at like level 40 something, but as you're leveling up, any Sandevistan should do. The main one to watch out for is the Falcon, which you get from level 30 something, but be sure to switch to Apogee because it's straight up better. For our face, we got the Cockatrice Kiroshi Optics. This one just flat gives you a 35% crit chance. Well, it gives you lower, but once you upgrade it, gives you 35%, which is amazingly useful for pistols. Up next, I recommend Heal on Kill. Pretty simple. For your legs, you want to go for the mobility option that you want. I don't think that Link's Pause is really necessary at all because of how good we are at stealth anyway, so my recommendation is just go for what you think is the most fun. To me, I like the charge jump, so you go for the fortified ankles, but you can go for double jumps or just faster sprinting if you want that. The next really important Cyberware is the Tyrosine Injector. This is for your nervous system, and it kind of works with Deadeye in that the second you get a kill, this activates and Deadeye activates so you can just go around wiping out an entire squadron of enemies. Up next, I heavily recommend Gorilla Arms because in this setup, we can't really max out our body, and to be able to pass some of the body checks and use some of the heavy body items, you want to get Gorilla Arms pretty early on, if you can. Lastly, I recommend the Axolotl for our frontal cortex. This is just a very basic Cyberware because it reduces the cooldown of everything that we have, so we're even more powerful. You gotta get a lot of armor and just things that help you heal up because in this setup, you're gonna be quite squishy and there are some moments where you can't just dodge attacks, so I heavily recommend to get some health items and some armor, just make sure that you just don't get wiped out. Another thing I can recommend playing around with is the Kreznikov. Kreznikov works really well with the Kreznikov boost system, so you can basically have a bunch of Cyberware that works specifically with the Kreznikov to make you even more powerful when you use it. In the video, I've only gone through the core Cyberware in that the ones that are specifically helpful to this build. I heavily recommend that you mix and match with the rest of the Cyberware to make your own perfect playstyle. For those of you who want to copy the exact build that I have though, I'll have the entire list of Cyberware in the description in addition to how to get them. Last, I'm going to talk about the pistols. Now, the first pistol that you want to get your hands on with this kind of pistol build is a version of Overture. Overture is like basically the cream of the crop when it comes to revolvers in this game. Let's get into a quiet area. But yeah, Overture is an amazing pistol, and there's a lot of versions of it in the game that you can find. The best Overture in the game is Amnesty. You get it by doing Panam's quest at the ending, but the main difficult thing is that you won't have Amnesty for the majority of the game. So what I do recommend is doing River Ward's quest and getting your hands on a Crash. I don't have Crash right here, but it's basically the best Overture that you can get without getting access to Amnesty, so be sure to get Crash. I forgot to mention this, but for those of you who have the Phantom Liberty DLC, be sure to find the Old Reliable Overture. The Old Reliable is the second best Overture in the entire game right after Amnesty, so it's definitely worth picking up and rocking for the whole game until the very end. Aside from Overture, the next item that we want, or the next pistol, is Death and Taxes. Death and Taxes is basically the best pistol in the entire game because instead of one shot, it's like 2 shots per hit. Death and Taxes makes it so that you can basically one-shot enemies that are stealth that have a lot of health. So if an enemy has a skull icon, for example, this thing lets you one-shot them in like one go, essentially, so you don't get spotted. Up next, we have the Comrade's Hammer. This thing is a powerhouse. Now, it's only one shot, so you want to basically combo this with your other pistols in that, let's say you want to like DPS this one target down, you do Sandevistan, you just one-shot them with your pistol, right? Then you switch to your Comrade's Hammer, boom, blow them up, and then you get back into cover and then you reload everything. And with the quick draw buffs from our cool tree, you can very easily just combo pistols together and then just reload and then do it all over again. So that's my personal recommendation for how to use the Comrade's Hammer. It's not a very good DPS weapon in that it has a very high reload time, so you kind of want to just use it in conjunction with your other pistols. Now, another pistol that is amazingly useful is Doom Doom. Doom Doom is like a crazy underrated pistol in my opinion. It's like an explosive shotgun, man. Now, this thing isn't like the best in terms of like our own specific playstyle, but if you have, let's say, one target that takes a lot of damage, you can basically activate Sandevistan and just like completely DPS them down, right? Just get real up close, go for headshots to make sure all three pellets hit the headshot, and just get back into cover. Because our Sandevistan is like the best one in the game, and we also have the extra courage card and the dashes, we can very easily just get up close, do our, you know, Doom burst on them, and just get back into cover so that we can hide. So yeah, that is basically it for this video. This is, in my opinion, the best pistol build for the game. You can obviously go for other weapons that you want, like the Lizzie or the other pistols, but I think Death and Taxes is amazing, and no pistol build is complete without Overture. I'm currently uploading a series, which is me playing the entirety of Phantom Liberty, so if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description, the comments, and also it'll be on the annotation box at the end. With all that said and done, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.